so I'm going to do the disclaimer again. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act in 1976, allowance is made for the fair use for the purpose such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and or research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
How's your client doing right now?
He's busy. He's struggling, trying to make sense out of what's happened to him in the last 13 months, and kind of coming out of a fog.
So, in other words, he was completely taken off guard by these allegations, completely shocked?
Absolutely shocked.
Where was he when he found out about this?
He was at work.
And how did he find out? He found out on the news? Did someone call him?
He got a call from Ruby.
He got a call from Ruby Franke?
Correct.
You mean after she was arrested?
Before.
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. She had heard what was going on and knew they were coming for her and called him and said, "This is an emergency." Even though she hadn't reached out to him for months and months and months before that, she reached out to him when it was an emergency, knowing she could rely on him to help his kids.
So in other words, you're saying she knew the police were coming to arrest her. She calls Kevin to say, take care of the kids. How did she know the police were coming? Because again, the reporting indicates is that her son had escaped that house and called and went to a neighbor, and that's when the authorities were alerted. Do you know how she knew they were coming?
I would never want to predict anything that she might know. Kevin doesn't know. He doesn't know. I don't know how she knew what was going down. All he knows is he got a text from her that said, "Emergency, speak with you." He was at work and text back and said, "I'm at work. What's up?" And she said, "I need to speak to you immediately."
And then they spoke on the phone.
Correct.
And that's when she told him.
Well, actually, I think most of it was, they did speak on the phone.
So they spoke on the phone, and when she told him that the police were coming, what did he say?
She actually didn't say that. She just said, "You need to get down here."
Need to get down here. And what did he say about that?
And he said, "Down where?" And when she told him that she was in Ivans, he responded and said, "What are you doing in Ivans?" And she then told him that the kids were down there, some of the kids were down there, and he needed to come down. And he said, "Well, how long have you been in Ivans?" He wasn't even told that she had taken the kids to Ivans.
Let me unpack that a little bit. So, first of all, their current status, were they separated?
Correct.
They were separated, I read, for 13 months, so they weren't living with each other. How much was he seeing the kids?
Almost not at all. Actually, not at all.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because she told him it was better, that they needed to work on their marriage and needed to keep their family together, but that everything was better off with him not in the home and not communicating with the children.
If you can, why were they separated? What was the catalyst?
Probably shouldn't go into that. That's pretty private. Mm-hmm. But let's just say they had a difference of opinion about their family.
Parenting? I know you can't talk about it, but is it that kind of where we're going?
Correct.
Okay. So let me
and their own personal dynamic.
Okay. So he was living separate from her. Was he calling the kids? Because I think what a lot of people are looking at this and they're wondering, well, what did he know? So he might have been living separately from her for 13 months, but he wasn't calling the kids, checking in on the kids, seeing how they're doing? He's the father.
I totally understand that. That was the big question on my mind and the big question on a lot of people. If you grab everything that's in the media, he's getting raked over the coals for that. But what people don't understand is that he was trying to preserve his marriage. He was taking direction from her. She's the one who asked him to leave the house and indicating that in order for him to be able to get back together with her and be a family, that she was requesting that he leave the home and that he not contact them or the children. Later told him that everything was blissful at home, but it was so much better without him.
Did he ever believe that the kids were in danger? Did he ever believe that Ruby might have been doing something to the kids?
He had nothing to indicate that.
So again, I know you're limited in what you can say, but just again piecing that together, if Ruby Franke told Kevin, Ruby Franke told Kevin that it's better off he's not part of the home, and that he lived separately from them and not have any contact. He just took that as, okay, that sounds like a good idea. Or did she prevent him in any way from seeing the kids? Did he want to see them and talk to them and she told him no?
Emotionally, she was controlling him because she knew how much he valued their marriage and valued their family, and it was his desire to be able to get back with the family and preserve his marriage. So he was taking direction from her. Her direction was, it's so much better off, and I think we can salvage our marriage if you just, for now, don't have communication with the kids, and I will communicate with you. I'll reach out to you when we need to have communication.
Why is this man
They
red?
had a difference of opinion, possibly about parenting. That never gave him a concern.
Maybe
to,
he's
hey, well,
sunburned.
maybe I should check in, because if it seemed like it was a big enough issue for them to separate, it didn't seem like an issue for him to check in on.
Kevin never had any reason to believe that his children were being abused. If he had even one inkling that his kids were being abused and that this separation wasn't for any other purpose than to figure out a way between he and Ruby to reunite their family, he would have been down there in 2 seconds.
Do they
He just simply had no idea.
He had no idea. He had no idea that this was going on.
No, physical abuse had never been a part of their family. But a lot of the dynamics between he and his wife changed after Jody Hildebrand partnered up with Ruby.
Let's talk about that for a second. First of all, before I get into Jody, do Kevin, your client, and Ruby, have they been talking at all while she's in jail?
The last conversation they had was last Friday. And that's when, during that conversation is when he came to his senses about how he'd been manipulated and deceived.
Are you saying he confronted her about these allegations?
To some degree. I don't know the entire contents of the conversation, but his discussion with me was that during that conversation, things were said that made him realize how he'd been deceived and misled, and as I told you earlier, he didn't even know the kids were in Ivan's.
You had just said that he knew that Ruby and Jody were working together.
Correct.
So how was he that shocked if he knew that they were working together and maybe she had brought the kids with him? I mean, did he not think that perhaps Ruby had taken the kids to Jody's house?
Typically, she would tell him something like that, but she didn't. She had the kids down there from about late May, I think maybe June, until this all came about. And she didn't tell him one thing about taking the kids to Ivan's.
All right.
Most people.
So we're going to end it there, and we are going to start the read. Hello, I'm Cleopatra Wise, and this video is all about Kevin Franke. Kevin Franke is the estranged husband of Ruby Franke. Ruby Franke was the creator of a very popular YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. It was one of those family vlogging channels, and they had 6 kids, hence the word 8 Passengers. And this is a teddy bear tarot. Now, for the past 13 months, which will begin in October 2022, Kevin and Ruby were separated, and he was asked to move out of their marital home. At the same time, Ruby was working with a business partner named Jody Rembrandt. It didn't fail, but I got it. Fell face down. Alright, now as you know, if the cards fall face down on the floor, I will read them. If they fall face up, I'm not. If too many cards come out, I'm going to take the top and the bottom. If a reversal come out, I'm going to turn it back around because I have enough cards. I don't need to be reversals. Alright. Now back to the story. Kevin was asked to move out of the marital home, and Jody and Ruby made another little like YouTube vlog show called Connections with an X instead of a C in the middle. Now at the same time, Ruby had moved out of her home and had went up two, we just need two more, and had went to live with Jody. She took her two youngest kids with her. Alright, just need one more. Those two younger kids were Russell and Eve. They living at the address of 854 Tagu Street, Irvins, Utah, 84738. The 12-year-old Russell, somehow he done climbed out a window and went to one of the neighbors. And then, you know, it was this whole big thing because they were... Alright, now this is face up, so I'm putting it back. And these are two, so we're going to keep them. It's just two. Alright, so let's start reading. Like I was saying, the neighbor made a whole big thing about it. Because it should be a whole big thing, right? And the police came, went to Jody's, discovered that the little girl was there basically in the same conditions, and this little girl is Eve. She's 10 years old. Cut to Jody and Ruby have now been arrested, and they are charged with sex. They're charged with sex. They are charged with 6 felony, you know. What are they called? 6 felony crimes? I don't know too much legal jargon, but they're charged with 6 felonies, like aggravated felonies, child abuse felonies. Alright. And they were arrested on August the 30th. Now, I'm trying to get all the notes out before I start reading. Also, Kevin and Ruby have been separated since October of 2022. He says that Ruby asked him to move out. Now, you got to remember, this read is about Kevin. It's not about Ruby and Jody. We are going to ask questions about Ruby and Jody, but this reading is about Kevin, who in my mind looks just like a young Bruce Willis when he did the very first Die Hard. Like, I know Kevin don't got no hair, but put a little hair on him and he would look just like Bruce Willis in the Die Hard franchise. Not the last one towards the end. Well, he kind of still does look like him. Okay, Kevin Franke looks like Bruce Willis. I'm glad I got that out there. I had to say it. Okay. Now, back to the story. They've been separated since October 2022. Okay. The first card out is the 3 of Cups. And this card jumped out when I mentioned Jody's name. Let's see what's on here. Okay. Already a secret arrangement. Spirit quick this morning. In the morning time, Spirit be quick. Alright. So you see this card. We're talking about the 3 people. Jody, Russell, and Ruby. You see how these 2 cups right here are about to toast? But this other person cup is over here because they don't even have no idea that something is happening. They don't even know that a toast is being made, even though it's being made right in front of him. So far, it doesn't look like Ruby's being manipulated because her cup is up. And Jody's cup is up. And this is Kevin and his cup right there. He's not a part of the toast. He ain't part of it. Alright. Let's clarify this. And to do that, we are going to use the Dark Mansion Tarot. Alright. Spirit, you have now shown me 3 people, but only 2 of the 3 are toasting. It would appear that Kevin Franke is not a part of the toasting. This is giving... Alright, that got clarified real fast. And it's 3 cards. I was about to say it's definitely giving manipulation. Alright. So what came out on the toast that Kevin wasn't a part of is the 7 of Wands, which is someone doing something sneaky, stealing. See, it's nighttime. He creeping away with the swords. The Temperance, which just means somebody doing something very slowly and very carefully and very methodical. It's like mixing chemicals. Gotta do it just right. And the last card is the 9 of Cups. Someone who is completely emotionally fulfilled. Now, Spirit is telling me, I'm looking at the back of the card because the card's facing the camera. So I'm only seeing the card through the camera too. And you know what I noticed? The person that is satisfied mentally and emotionally, they by themselves on that. Ain't nobody else in there. In that picture with them. A lot of times the 9 of Cups have 2 people in it because it shows you and your loved one. The person that you're happy to be with. But this person all by themselves. Is this you, Kevin? Are you happy to just be on your own? Well, I suppose you're not happy now because, you know, your 2 youngest children were being starved and tortured. But let's clarify. Wait, we can't clarify to clarify it. Yes, we can. Alright. And by the way, this person doing something very slowly and methodically is Jody. She's also in this picture alone. Everyone was together, but they were all doing their own separate thing. Each one had a different agenda. Like, I feel like Kevin's agenda was maybe to, have a little midlife crisis, go get a little extra coochie on the side, let why these 2 work it out. Jody's agenda was to somehow have a power play and break up a marriage of, how long was they married? I want to say they was married 13 years. I don't know. They got some kids that's 20, so they probably married longer than that. But I think her power play was just to see if she can break up the marriage. And Ruby over here, I don't know what's inside her mind. Because those were her kids that were tied up. Alright, but we are supposed, this is about Kevin. I have to keep reminding myself. Alright, so we are going to clarify this card. And to do that, we are going to go into the Spider Tarot. Alright, Spirit. This one got real interesting with this first card. This is my oldest deck. You shown me Kevin here by himself, having a little bachelor pad moment. While he was having his little bachelor moment, he was happy. But did he know about the children being abused? Was he able to sit there that happy knowing his kids was being abused? What was his energy while he was sitting there by himself? Alright, thank you, Spirit. So the extra question that came out. Like I said, this is my oldest deck. They know me. It takes a while for the cards to get to know you. I'm a little thirsty. Okay, so his energy while he was sitting there having his bachelor moment is, it's a negative card because it don't have triangles at the top. Disorganization. So he was over there, Kevin was doing his own thing, and he felt a little, I'm not going to say disorganized, I'm going to say scattered. Like, you know, the pieces of the life, of his life, have kind of started to fall apart. You know, right in front of him, it's hard, it can be hard to grasp what happened. You know, you done got kicked out of the marital home. Yeah, you got to take a little bit of the 8 passengers money with you, but you still in this picture by yourself, thinking about how your home is out of control. Alright. Ooh, it took us forever to clarify that first card. Now, let's go on to the second card. Ooh, the second card is the 4 of Cups, which means apathy, or somebody who is a little bit, I think it's called despondent. When you don't really respond to stimuli, you know, somebody can be eating your favorite food right in front of you and you just like, fuck that shit. Oops, excuse me. Why am I cussing? It's too early in the morning. Apologies. Okay. Like I said, somebody could be doing one of your favorite activities or eating your favorite food and you just don't care. You're despondent. You're sitting there thinking about these extra cups that used to be being held by people. And he don't even have a cup in his hand right now. Is somebody back here though? What you doing back there? Let's read the card. Okay. Spirit says the person in the back is Jody. She's in shadow too. He don't even know she's back there. And she does have a cup in her hand. Like I was saying, Jody was a bit on a power play. It would appear that she was getting satisfaction out of watching their marriage, what can you say, decompose, or watching their marriage fall apart. She was getting off on that. Alright, now to clarify what he was thinking while being despondent, let's see if he was trying to be solution orientated. Alright, Spirit, you showing me Kevin here now, just being a bit despondent. You know, he doesn't care what's going on around him, living in the past, that whole thing. You show me Jody watching and taking pleasure. If you give me Kevin's energy at this time, other than not wanting to, you know, communicate or associate, what else is going on around Kevin at this time? Alright. The 5 of Swords. You see this, he really, I guess, you know, he was falling apart. At the time that he was, you know, feeling sad. But also, it's important to note that the 5 of Swords is about violence. Unnecessary violence. But this man, there's no bloodshed here, and you can actually see that these legs screw in. The arm screws in. So it's not like somebody cutting somebody else up. It's literally a man that has fell apart. Thank you. Alright, so I still don't see anything about Russell and Eve. Alright, let's clarify the third card. Okay. Here we have a king. The King of Wands. Which makes sense because this read is about Kevin. Dang, Jody really had it out for him. Because even though this is the King of Wands, look at who behind him again. Again, coming up from behind. It's Jody. He's sitting on his throne completely unbeknownst to him was about to get dethroned. Alright, Spirit, you've shown me Kevin while he is still in the marital home, which is in Springfield, Utah. But I'm not going to give you the zip code because I don't want you to go to Springfield. I want you to stay right where you are at in Irving, Utah, 84738, between the dates of March of 2022 and August. But still, I'm going to go over to Springfield right quick. Just right quick. Okay, Spirit, I need you to go to Springfield, Utah right quick. When you get over there, go to the marital home. When you get inside, take us to, okay, if he got put out in October of 2022, take us to August of 2022. We're inside the marital home with Kevin and Ruby. Jody's not around. It's just Kevin and Ruby. What is their energy like? Not in here? Alright. I want to use this Alley Man's Tarot so bad, but I know I'm going to have to look up the card. And I've been using them every day, but I haven't got to know them good enough to use them. Alright, Spirit. To clarify the energy between the Franks when Jody isn't around, we have switched over to the Beauty of Horror deck. I don't know who's texting me, but they're going to have to wait. And it's messing up my energy. Phone got to get on silent now. Now you on silent. Alright. Like I was saying, I want the energy of the Franks in August of 2022. What is the energy between Ruby and Kevin in August of 2022? Alright. Damn. The Five of Wands. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those cats were fast as lightning. Okay, so they was arguing like cats and dogs. As you can see, everybody's throwing sticks and, you know, yeah, they were fighting hard body. This is when you argue about everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Everything from why is your towel on the bathroom floor to I thought I told you to go to the store and get this, down to I hate when you move my shoes where I can't find them. Let's move on around to why is this table still here. They was arguing about everything, which is crazy because they had a family vlog. And this is them without Jody around. This after Jody and them went home, they still in there arguing. That's intense. Shit, I would have left voluntarily. She wouldn't have had to put me out. I would have been like, you know what? I'm going to spin the block. Okay? But right now, I'm outside. Why is this so aggravating to me? I got really hyped. Yeah, their arguments were passionate. Okay. Let's clarify now the second to last card. Aw, we had the Page of Cups, which is all about messages. And immediately, this is Kevin. Still trying to reach out to Ruby at some point. He was, being separated from his family and his 6 children. He was quite literally a fish out of water, as you can see here. But he never stopped sending her messages here and there, like holding out hope that, this is some kind of weird phase that they both were going through. Oh. This card doesn't need clarifying. He never gave up hope, but he was a fish out of water without his family. Oh, this card makes me sad. Alright, drum roll. We are down to the last card. Oh, look at them. The last card is the 2 of Cups. Now, I was about to say, oh, they get back together. But Spirit quickly shut that down and said that this is Jody and Ruby. They had made some sort of pact agreement. You see, they toasting again. You see, this whole read started out with these 2 secretly toasting. Remember? And his cup was down here, their cup was up here. It ends with just them toasting. They have successfully dispatched Kevin and have gotten rid of him. Okay, he's gone. It's just them 2 now. And they can do things how they want to do them. They can torture children. They can starve people. They can have YouTube channels that are just filled with lies. They can do anything they want because they're grown. But unfortunately for them, they're going to be doing it in jail. You're going to jail. Hair jail. No, I'm just joking, but they are in jail. They can toast with their commissary cups. Alright. I am Cleopatra Wallace. If you found this read interesting, please subscribe to my channel. Talking to you. Because you never know what's going to happen next. Bye-bye.